Hello folks, this is Tom Martin. This is my lottery strategy game, Decoding the Powerball guessing game. I'm picking my numbers for the drawing on August 22nd, 2018. If you'd like to play my game Decoding the Powerball, then please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. I have 7 strategies with my game Decoding the Powerball. So strategy number 1, the game card color code. Okay, so if you've never seen my videos before, why I make them is to demonstrate on how to use my game. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the game card. This is a format that I came up with that represents the 69 white ball numbers in the Powerball lottery. I really don't have anything for the Powerball itself. My goal is to get all 5 white balls correct and win the $2 million prize with the Power Play option. Okay, so first things first is I'm going to go to the Powerball homepage, and the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 24, 34, 52, 61, and 67. Again, I really don't care about the red ball. Okay, so what I do is I take those 5 white winning numbers and I put it at the top of this list, and then I take the last 3 drawings of numbers because it matches up with this red area right here. I'll take the last 3 drawings of numbers and I'll transfer these numbers over to the game card as red numbers. Then I'll do the same thing with the orange area, the green, the blue, and the purple. I have 5 different colors, one to represent each one of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so how this works is, again, there's 69 white ball numbers. I divided them among 5 colors, which equals 13.8. Okay, so my goal is to get as close to as 13 or 14 numbers as possible per color. Okay, so for this drawing, I have 15 red numbers, 14 orange, 12 green, 13 blue, and 15 purple numbers. And the number of colors change with every drawing. Okay, so over here to the right is 256. This tells me how many color code drawings I kept track of so far. And again, these are the color code drawings, okay? So out of this 256 drawings, 135 drawings have come up a 3-color combination. 87 drawings have come up a 4-color combination. 25 drawings have come up a 2-color combination. And only 9 times out of 256 drawings have all 5 colors come up together. And never has it been just 1 color. Okay, so this number 3 right here, this tells me how many colors just came up in the last drawing. So you can see that there is 3 purple numbers, a blue, and a green for 3 colors total. Okay, so what I do here is I try to correctly guess what the next number here will be. Okay, so more than half the time, it does come up a 3-color combination. Okay, so the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers, okay? So again, there's 69 white ball numbers total. Only 5 numbers can come up as winners, so that means 64 numbers can't come up at all, okay? So for me, I just think it should be easier to pick the numbers that won't be coming up than the 5 that actually do, okay? So to help me out with that, I'm going to turn to how all 5 colors hardly ever come up together, okay? So the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these color groups won't be coming up and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so as I look at the history of things, I just see a lot of green from here down to here, okay? So for me, I don't think any green numbers will be coming up, all right? So the thing about this game is that we're all going to look at it a little bit differently, okay? So you may look at these purple numbers and say, wow, a lot of purple numbers have come up in the last 2 drawings. Maybe no purple numbers will come up, okay? But again, for me, I don't think any green numbers are going to come up. So I'm going to eliminate them off of the game card, okay? So when I do that, I'm going to block out the number like this, okay? So I'm going to do that with all the green numbers, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll to the right just to speed things up, and this is what the game card looks like so far with no green numbers to it, okay? So what I'm doing here is I'm spending $3 on a Powerball ticket, which includes the power play. Okay, so in other words, I'm betting $3 that none of these green numbers will come up in the next drawing. Okay, so if I'm correct with my bet and none of these green numbers come up, then I'm one step closer to that $2 million prize. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 2, the individual numbers. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the individual numbers. And how this works is up at the very top is the master for each individual number. Okay, and over here to the right are the numbers that just came up in the drawing. Again, it was the 24, 34, 52, 61, and 67. So that turns out to be a 4-group combination. Okay, so I'm going to reduce this down so you can see what I'm talking about. Okay, and what you're going to see here is that I broke all the 69 numbers down into 7 groups. Okay, so group number 1 holds the numbers of 1 through 9, and this is the only group with 9 numbers. And then all the other 6 groups have 10 numbers to it. Okay, so the next group is, I call the teen numbers, even though there's 10, 11, and 12 in here. So it's the teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, and 60s. Okay, for 7 groups total. All right, so there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so that means that 2 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so how I use this game is this big square right here. This is good for 5 drawings, okay? And the reason why I break it down into 5 is for a couple reasons, all right? So when I want to go back into the history of things, it's easier to count going 5, 10, 15, 20, and so on, okay? But the other reason why I do it is my theory is that if there's a lot of hits within this group of numbers here for this 5 drawings, then maybe there won't be so many hits in the next 5 drawings, or vice versa. Okay, so again, the overall strategy is to eliminate numbers. Okay, so the one that I'm going to eliminate is the teen numbers here. Okay, again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. All right, but I just see the teen numbers are not coming up, so I hope that they don't. Okay, so I'm going to blow this back up. Sometimes there's no rhyme or reason why a group of numbers will come up or not come up. It's all just a guess, okay? But another way that you can use this is you could highlight this like this 15 and go down through and see what colors have come up or colors that haven't come up, okay? And another way that you can use this, or how I use it anyways, is I try to correctly guess how many groups will come up in the next drawing, okay? So you can see that this 24 is in the 20 group, the 34 is in the 30 group, the 52 is in the 50 group, and the 61 and 67 are in the 60 groups for 4 colors, for 4 groups total. Okay, so most of the time it's either a 4 or a 3 group that comes up. Okay, once in a while a 5 will come up. Okay, and once in a blue moon a 2 will come up. Okay, so I'll show you an example of a 2. Okay, so you can see that the 22 and 23 is in one group, and the 62, 63, and 66 is in another group. Okay, for 2 groups total. Okay, so I never seen a 1. Okay, I've never seen where all like 560 numbers have come up. I haven't seen that yet. I'm sure it will happen someday, but I haven't seen it yet. Okay, so again, the majority of the time, it's either a 4 or a 3. Okay, so since as I go down to the history of things, you can see that the 3s, you know, they come up a lot, just like the 4s here. Okay, but I haven't seen a 3 since this one in a little while, so I'm going to predict that a bunch of 3s will be coming up in the future, in the near future here. Okay, so when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want it to represent 3 of these groups. Okay, so I'm off to back to the game card, Okay, and you can read underneath the color code, no green numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right, and now you can read underneath the individual numbers, no team numbers. Okay, and again, that includes the 10, 11, and 12 as well. Okay, so this is what the game card looks like so far. All right, so if I'm correct with my guesses here, and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm off to the next strategy. And that's strategy number 3, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 1. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 1 numbers. Okay, so what I did is I divided all the numbers into 4 different groups. Okay, and I put colors to these groups. Okay, so you can see red, blue, orange, and green. Okay, and when the 5 white winning Powerballs come up, I record where they land within these colored groups down here in the stats. Okay, so this is for the red area, the blue, the orange, and the green. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage, and again, the 5 white winning numbers that just came up were the 24, 34, 52, 61, and 67. Okay, so as I look at this here, all right, so the 24 is in the blue area. So when I go down to the blue, you can see that there's a 1 here, and that represents that 24. Okay, and then in the red area is the 67. And this 67 actually shares the square with the 19, and I'm going to talk about that in a second. Okay, so down here in the red area, you can see that 1, and that represents the 67. And in the orange area, there's 2 numbers, and that's the 34 and 52. And then in the green area, it was the 61 right here. Okay, so when the 5 white winning numbers hit all 4 color groups, I call that a row. Okay, so that just helps things stand out. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the next option card. Okay, I have 15 of these option cards total. So you can see where the red numbers are here on option card number 1. And now you can see where the red numbers are on option card number 2 and how I broke them up a little bit different. Okay, so here's option card number 3, and you can see where the red numbers are now. Okay, so I'm going to point out this one because there's a 0 here. Okay, so that means that none of the 5 white winning Powerball numbers landed in this red area. Okay, so again, it was the 24, the 67, the 34, the 52, and the 61. So again, no red numbers came up. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess where these zeros are going to pop up. Okay, so if I could have correctly guessed in the last drawing that none of these red numbers were going to come up, I could have eliminated all these numbers and gave myself a much better chance at picking the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I'm going to make a prediction right now. And my guess is that no red numbers are going to be coming up here in this option card number 1. Okay, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. But for me, you see how this 4 and this 4 here and then a 4 repeated? Okay, that's what I think is going to happen over here, where there's a 2, and I think there's going to be a 2 that repeats. And I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so hopefully that's what's going to happen. Who knows, right? It's just a guess. But again, my guess is that none of these red numbers will be coming up. So I'm going to get rid of them. And I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card here. Again, you can read underneath in, the individual numbers, no team numbers. And now I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can read underneath group 1, option card number 1, no red numbers. So you can see that all these red numbers are gone here. Okay, so I wanted to talk about how the 67 and the 19 share that square. Okay, so you can see that these 5 numbers are off here to the left on the game card. Okay, and why I do that is I need some separation for the color code. Okay, so like this 58 shares the square with the 68. And you can see that the 68 is in red, and the 58 is in orange. Okay, so if I got rid of all the red numbers, I would get rid of the 68, but the 58 would still be in play. Okay, but if I got rid of all these numbers, then I would get rid of the 58 and the 68 at the same time as a group. Okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm dividing these numbers into different groups and then trying to correctly guess whether a certain group is going to come up in the lottery or not come up in the lottery. Okay, so right now I'm picking the numbers that I think won't be coming up. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1 here, and my next pick is going to be option card number 4, no red numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 4. Okay, so you can see where the red numbers are, and down here in the stats, you can see where the red is. Okay, so these red numbers just had a long thing of hits here. Okay, so 23 drawings in a row, one of these red numbers came up in the drawings. Okay, and then it missed, and now another one came up, and now I think it's going to miss again. So I think there's going to be a 0 right here. Okay, so again, if that happens, then none of these red numbers will be coming up. Okay, so that's what I hope will happen. So I'm going to eliminate those red numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay, with all these block numbers to it. Okay, so again, if I made all the correct guesses here, none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be within one of these colored numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to go back to group 1 for another pick. And my next pick is going to be option card number 11, no red numbers. Okay, so here's option card number 11. And the reason why I'm picking this one, and again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently, is because you can see that there's a couple of single zeros here, okay? And once in a while, these single zeros tend to double up, like right down here, okay? Or they quadruple up or triple up or whatever, okay? So I have a couple of single zeros here, and now I think that this is going to double up like this, okay? So that's what I think is going to happen. So I want to get rid of all these red numbers here off of the game card. So I'm going to go back to the game card. I'm going to scroll to the right. And this is what the game card looks like so far. Okay? So I'm going to go back to group 1 for one last pick. And that's option card number 12, no red numbers. Okay, so the reason why I'm picking this one is because a red number has come up in the last 15 drawings, okay? So one of these red numbers have come up in the last 15 drawings, and now I think it's going to miss, okay? So I think there's going to be a 0 here, which means I don't believe that any of these red numbers will be coming up in the drawing. So I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right. And you can read underneath group 1, option card number 12, no red numbers. Okay, so you can see that I picked a bunch of red here. Okay, and the reason why is because when I go to the end of this here, for all 15 option cards, I have what's called the overview of group 1. Okay, so how this works is I'm going to point out the red areas. Okay, so you can see that you got a bunch of red marks here and a couple of blue marks, okay? So what these blue marks are, if there's 5 or more zeros among all 15 option cards, then I color it blue for cold. If there's less than 5, then I color it red for hot, okay? So there was 3 zeros or 3 blue marks in the last drawing here for the red areas, okay? So as I go down through, you can see that here's one of them in option card 15. And I'll just point these out real quick. So here's another one, option card number 11. So there's the second 0, or second miss. And here in option card number 3, you can see that these numbers didn't come up, which I talked about earlier. And that's the third 0. Okay, so again, sometimes there's 5 or 6 or even 8 zeros for all these option cards here. Okay, so this is why I keep the group 1 overview here. Okay, so the drawing before had 6 blue areas where there's zeros to them. Okay, and 5 orange areas. All right, so as I look at this, you can see that there's a long run of red. So I think that this is going to be a blue mark right here. Okay, and if that happens, that means there's going to be at least 5 out of these option cards that are going to have zeros to it. Okay, so that's why I picked so many red areas. Okay, so as I go back through, you can see that option card number 12, no red. Option card 11, no red. Option card 4, no red. Option card 1, no red. Okay, so I just think there's going to be lots of red misses, okay, and that's why I did it this way. All right, so that's it for group 1. So I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 4, picking the numbers I hope will miss from group 2. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call my group 2 numbers. Okay, so much like group 1, where I divided things into 4 different groups, here I divided things into 8 different groups. Okay, so this is just another way of looking at things. All right, maybe you heard the saying of divide and conquer, and this is what I'm trying to do with the Powerball. Divide it into different groups and give myself a better advantage somehow. Okay, so again, there's 8 groups total. Okay, so you can count, there's red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow. Okay, so this is option card number 1, and I have 15 of these option cards as well, and they all kind of look the same as far as the colors. Okay, so you can see this option card number 2 has all the same colors to it: red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, and yellow. Okay, it's just that they're just a little bit different. All right, so you can see this option card number 2 where the red area is compared to option card number 1 where the red area is. Okay, so again, there's 8 groups total. Now, again, there's only 5 white winning Powerball numbers. Okay, so I know that 3 of these groups cannot have a winning Powerball number to it. Okay, so the strategy is try to correctly guess which one of these color groups won't have the winning Powerball number to it, and eliminate that group of numbers off of the game card. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works. I'm going to blow this up just a little bit, and I'm going to point out this red area right here. Okay, so down here in the stats for the red, you can see that I like to keep track of how things. I like to keep track of everything in a group of 5. Okay. And the reason why I do that is because I want to see a majority of things. Okay, so you can see out of these 5 drawings, there was 3 misses to it. 0, 0, 0. Okay, so the majority is misses, and when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. So the one underneath it, you can see that the majority is hits. Okay, you can see this 2, 2, 1. All right, so the majority is hits, and when that happens, I color the background red for hot. Okay, so the reason why I do that is because since the lottery is so random, I know that nothing can stay cold forever, and I know that nothing can stay hot forever. Okay, so as I go down through the stats, you can see that this red area started out pretty cold, and then it heated up, then it got cold, then it heated up again, then it got cold. Okay, and what I think now is, I'm not sure what's going to happen in this red area, but the one that I'm going to pick, my prediction here is, again, I have 15 of these option cards, and I'm going to go to option card number 6, and I don't think any blue numbers are going to come up. Okay, so here's the stats for the blue. And as I go down through, you can see that things are kind of like 50-50. Then it got really cold here, okay? And it just kind of stayed 50-50. And now I just have a gut feeling that this is going to be a 0 here, okay? So who knows what's going to happen, all right? But again, I don't think any of these blue numbers are going to come up, so I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so I'm going to scroll down, and you can read underneath Group 2, option card number 6, no blue numbers, okay? And you can see all those blue numbers are gone now, okay? So I'm going to go back to Group 2 for another pick. And this is option card number 7, no green numbers. Okay, so here's the stats for the green. And as I head down through, you can see that things got really, really hot through here. Then they cooled off a little bit. Then they got hot again, okay? And now I think it's going to stay cool. Okay, so I think there's going to be a 0 right here, which means I don't believe that any of these green numbers will be coming up. So again, I want to get rid of them, and I'm going to get rid of them through the game card. Okay, so you can see that the 58 and 68 will be gone, and the 60 will be gone. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the left, and now you can see that the 58 and 68 are gone. Okay, so I'm all done eliminating numbers here. Okay, so again, I started off with 69 white ball numbers, and now I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so now I'm down to 10 numbers. So again, if I made all the correct picks, and the key word here is if I made all the correct picks and none of these blocked out numbers come up, then the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers have to be with one of these 10 numbers still left on the game card. Okay, so I'm going to turn to my next strategy, and that's strategy number 5, the 50-50 picks. Okay, so what you're looking at here is what I call the 50-50 picks, okay? And how this works is, again, there's 5 white winning Powerball numbers, okay? So that means there has to be a majority of either odd numbers or even numbers, or numbers to the high side or numbers to the low side, okay? So I like to keep track of this and try to correctly guess what the majority will be for the upcoming drawing, okay? So how this works is, right here, there's been 300 drawings that I kept track of so far. And this goes back to October 7th, 2015. That's when the Powerball lottery went from 59 numbers to 69 numbers. Okay, so out of this 300 drawings, 152 drawings have been the majority of odd numbers. 148 drawings have been the majority of even numbers. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the Powerball homepage. And the 5 white winning numbers were the 24, which is even, the 34 is even, the 52 is even, and the 61 and 67 are odd, okay? So as I go back, the last drawing, there was 3 even numbers and 2 odd numbers, okay? So when that happens, I bold out the one that had the majority, and you can see that within these 5 drawings here, the majority was evens, 3 drawings to 2. Okay, so as I go down here, this is, again, I like to break things down into 5. Okay, so as I look at this, I'm thinking that the next 5 will probably be odds. Okay, so I'm thinking that I'm not sure what's going to happen with this next drawing. I think it's going to keep on going evens for some reason. Okay, so I'm going to predict that it's going to stay evens. All right, so moving on to the next one, you can see that this is high and low. So all the red numbers are considered high numbers. All the blue numbers are considered low. So this is 148 and 152 as well. Okay, and then the next one is left and right. Okay, so you can see that this is kind of mirrors as well, 148, 152. And then the last one I have is this red and blue area. You can see that the red is really way out ahead, 173 to 127. Okay, so I think eventually this blue is going to catch up. All right, so but the only one that I feel comfortable picking is that I think there's going to be more even numbers than odd numbers. Okay, so the last thing I have over here is this is for the Powerball itself. Okay, This is for that red number. And the last drawing, the red number was 16, okay? So you can see I put the 16 here. And why this green thing is here is because the 16 repeated itself, okay? So when that happens, I put a green thing here, okay? Just to remind me that it repeated, all right? So if you're looking at this column here, okay, there's 26 red ball numbers total, okay? So what I did is I divided the numbers into two. Okay, so if you see a blue number, that means it's low, 1 to 13. If you see a high number, if you see a red number, that means it's high, 14 to 26. So over here in this column, if you see a red number, then that means it's odds. If you see a blue number, that means it's evens, okay? So the reason why I do that is I just kind of like looking at the colors, all right? So I can see that there's a little run here of red, okay? So the next one I think is going to be blue. Okay, and over here, I think that this is going to be red. Okay, so for me, I think the Powerball number will be a low odd number. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the game card here. I'm going to scroll to the left here, and you can see the 50-50 picks. I think more even numbers are going to be coming up. Okay, so when I'm picking what I think will be the 5 white winning Powerball numbers, I want it to represent at least 3 even numbers to it. Okay, so the reason why I came up with this 50-50 picks is a while ago I reduced the numbers down to 10 just like this, okay, and the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers landed within one of these numbers that were still left on the game card. Okay, so that day I only got 2 numbers correct, okay, and this is where I came up with the 50-50 picks to give me a better advantage, okay? But this is why I keep on doing this, is because I reduced the numbers down once before and it gave me a huge advantage, okay? So again, if the 5 correct winning Powerball numbers are within these 10 numbers, then my odds of getting some kind of prize is much better than picking from 69 numbers, okay? So again, I'm off to the next strategy, and that's strategy number 6, picking the numbers I hope will hit from group 2. Okay, so again, these are the group 2 numbers, all right? And I have 15 of these option cards, and they all kind of look the same as far as red, blue, orange, green, purple, brown, gray, yellow, okay? It's just that the numbers that they represent are a little bit different from each other, from each different option card, okay? So I have a group 2 overview, just like I have a group 1 overview here, okay? So I'm going to go to that right now. Maybe. Okay, so this is my group 2 overview right here, okay? And how this works is, again, I keep track of all 15 option cards. So here in the red area, let me go back to group 2. Again, I have 15 of these option cards, and they all have a red area to it. They all have a blue area to it. Okay, so there's 15 red areas, there's 15 blue areas, there's 15 orange, and so on. Okay, so again, I like to keep track of that as a group. All right, so as I go back to the group 2 overview here, you can see in the last drawing, over here to the left side are the hits, and over here to the right side are the misses, which means no winning Powerball numbers landed on that option card, okay, for the red area. Okay, so in the last drawing, there was six option cards that had winning Powerball numbers to it, and there was nine option cards that had no winning Powerball numbers to it at all in the red areas, okay? So the key number here is 8. 8 will show me a majority of things out of 15, okay? So you can see that the majority was misses, and when that happens, I color the background blue for cold. And when it's the majority is hits, I color the background red for hot. Again, I want some color separation here, okay? So I think that as I look at this, I think that this purple area will have a red mark right here, okay? So I'm expecting a lot of hits in the purple areas here. Okay, so as I go back to the game card, okay, I'm gonna scroll down. Okay, just give me 1 second. Okay, so you can see that in this yellow area, there's 1 to 15, and this represents all the option cards. Okay, so as I go back to group 2, here's option card number 1, and I'm just looking at the purple numbers here. Okay, and the purple numbers run from 5 to the 61. So I want to see what's left in here. Okay, so 5 to the 61, you can see the only ones left is the 21 and the 61. So I wrote those down right here. Okay, so I'm going to go to option card number 2. And you can see that the purple numbers run from the 33 to the 40. So here, the 33 to the 40. The only one left is the 35 and the 40, which I wrote right here. Okay, so I did that with all 15 option cards, and these are the numbers that were broken out of it. Okay, so I'm off to the last strategy, and that's strategy number 7, picking my numbers. Okay, so I'm going to scroll to the right here, and the numbers that I'm going to go with for this drawing are the 7, 21, 24, 40, and 44. Okay, so with this combination of numbers, this will give me 9 hits, 6 misses in that orange area. I mean in the purple area. Okay, so as I go back to the Group 2 overview, again, I think that this is going to be a 9. And this is 6. Okay, so since there's more than 8 hits, this will be colored red like so. Okay, so I just want to give you a visual of things. This is what I hope it will look like. All right, so as I go back here, again, the numbers that I'm going to go with are the 7, 21, 24, 40, and 44. Now, the reason why I came up with these numbers as well is because there's more even numbers here than odd. Okay, so it kind of matches up with the purple. I think there's going to be more even numbers. So again, these are the numbers that I came up with. And this is the 7, 21, 24, 40, and 44. Okay, so we'll see what happens. Okay, so again, we're all going to look at this a little bit differently. So we're all going to come up with a different result. Okay, but for me, I'm going to go with the 7, 21, 24, 40, and 44. Okay, another reason why I picked this number is because in the individual numbers here, I think there's going to be a 3 right here. Okay, so that means 3 groups will be hit. So you can see that the 7 is in one group, the 21 and 24 is in another group, and the 40 and 44 is in another group as well, for 3 groups total. Okay, so again, this is how I use the game, and if you want to use it, then if you're interested in playing my game, then again, please email me at decodingpowerball@gmail.com. Okay, again, that's decodingpowerball@gmail.com. All right, I charge $10 a month. Okay, and this is to update the system. All right, so there's 8 or 9 drawings per month for the Powerball, depending on the month and how the days land. Okay, so that breaks down to about $1.25 per game. Okay, so if you want to look at it that way. All right, so I appreciate you watching today. If you like the content of my channel, then please subscribe. Okay, and as always, I want to wish you the best of luck in your picks.